The Washington Capitals and Detroit Red Wings are battling it out for the final playoff spot. They meet tonight in an Eastern Conference battle. We'll discuss that right here on PuckTime, powered by WagerTalk TV. Guys, welcome in. I'm Andrew McGinnis. I have Carmine Bianco and Lawrence, the Prezman here with us to break down these games. Best bets, of course, at the end of the show. We also have Rangers, Islanders, and a rematch of the Hurricanes and Boston Bruins. Carm, 3 great games you selected for today, man. Looking forward to breaking these down. How are you?
I'm good, man. 2-1 night in the NHL, so we keep moving along. Split up on a couple of player props, but one of the client plays that I gave out on the show was the Jack Eichel one, and that one got there. He scored the first 2 goals for, so they're never going to take those ones away. And then he picked up a couple more, and we're pretty much safe after that. And of course, the Leafs. They did it the hard way against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Andrew, you and I talked about what happened with Sid the Kid. Yes, we're still calling him Sid the Kid, not starting the OT, but could have been a skate issue, could have been an injury problem. But nonetheless, both teams, it worked out. Pittsburgh gets a point, Leafs get the 2 points they needed, and we move on to today. This first game, man, I had to put this on the card. It's Carolina and Boston. And if you guys remember, we covered this these 2 teams last week. They played against each other. And if the Bruins in that game went into Carolina, they scored 3 goals in the first period. Freddie Anderson was in goal in that one, and then they go on to win the game 4-1. And I said watching that game, I'm like, Carolina's playing a lot better than this scoreline is. So I wait the next day. I look at the analytics of the game. I come back to a couple days later to see if there's any changes. The analytics are still the same. You look at it, the final, and this lends to the fact that the Boston Bruins can win games at any point in the season, even when they're not playing at their best. They won that game 4-1. They weren't playing their best because if you look at the analytic numbers, the final XG in that game was 4.83 for Carolina to 2.48 for the Boston Bruins. Scoring chances 39-22 for Carolina. Now you can look at it. Did the goalie stand on his head in that game? I don't think so. It's just a chance. It's just one of those misfiring things. And now it's that rapid revenge that we talk about, Andrew. It's not a back-to-back. Carolina's won 2 games since. The Bruins have won 1 game since. I think it was against the Florida Panthers. But I think Carolina's the spot here because these 2 teams, as far as seedings go, it doesn't matter in the first round. It doesn't matter in the second round, but because these 2 teams don't get involved with each other. It is in the conference finals. If these 2 teams meet in the conference finals, the team with the higher point count during the regular season, even if the Bruins finish second overall, actually, no, it doesn't matter if they finish second overall. The higher seeding, they're going to finish second as far as the number 1 seed in the Atlantic. That's what I meant. But even though they finished second because they finished first in the Atlantic, if Carolina has more points, they will get home ice in the conference finals. So I had to look that up. It sounds a little convoluted, but follow me on this. It's a game of importance for both teams. And this is one where I look at it, and the goaltenders haven't been confirmed, but it's Swayman expected. It's Kochetkov, who didn't start in that game. And you look at Kochetkov, his last 8 starts, 1 bad start, 7-6 to Washington, he loses. In his other 7 starts, he's only allowed 12 goals. He's playing well. He's giving them a chance to win. They have a good 2-goalie system there. I'm going to go with Carolina in this game. I think that's the play. Prez, what are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, guys. Excited. Tuesday, ready to rock and roll. Shout out to all my clients. I just want to thank them, man. Last week, we started off Monday and Tuesday, an absolute horrible run. I think we went 2-7 over those 2 days. And then Wednesday was a losing day. Since then, all I've done is won, and a bunch of you guys stuck with me all the way through it. So I'm so appreciative. Tonight, I have my first MLB 5% play in 2 years. And you guys know I do not release 5% plays very often. First MLB 5% play in 2 years. So I'm super stoked about that. And I'm also coming into this show on a 7-0 run in NHL up double-digit profits. So with that said, let's take this game apart. So let's look at this from a side perspective. Boston, really super hot right now. They've won 4 in a row, playing outstanding defense. Held their team, all 4 of their opponents to 2 or under goals. One of those was Carolina, a 4-1 win. Carolina won 2 in a row, 4 of their last 5, and 7 of their last 10. These two teams have basically the same record. From a head-to-head perspective, Boston won, Carolina won, Boston won, Carolina won, Boston won, Carolina won, Boston won, Carolina won. If you guys think that the side play in this game is worth taking, you are out of your mind. Everything about this is dead even. You might as well flip a coin, get your cat to pick. Why would anybody? We have a whole slate of games, and I am going to be the hero that picks the winner of this one? Hell freaking no. Straight up pass. With that said, I do like the under in this game. Carr mentioned that these two teams might face off against each other down the road in the playoffs, although I don't see it because the Leafs are going to be there. I think we're going to have a playoff type atmosphere. And man, both these teams are playing just rock solid defense. You look at Carolina, they have shut 3 teams out in their last 5 games. Think about that. They shut out Detroit. Detroit scores. They shut out Montreal. My D-League team could shut out Montreal. They shut out Columbus. Columbus scores. They held Washington to 2. They in their last 10 games, they have 3 zeros and 2 ones. 5 of their last 10 games, they've held opponents to 1 goal or less. You look at Boston, we spoke about it earlier. They held Florida to 2, Carolina to 1, Nashville to 0, Washington to 2. No team has scored more than 3 goals against them in 7 straight games. You guys are nuts if you think you can figure out which team is going to win this game, but the under feels like a good bet.
I'm going to jump in here because it's not about making hero calls, Prez. It is understanding the analytics of the game. And I get it. You don't take analytics of the game and apply it to when you're making 90% of the time. I don't think you take analytics and apply it to any of your plays. You just see as far as box scores or the eye test, like Dave Koken talks about a lot of the times. But you have to incorporate the analytics into this. And if you look at the last game tells you that Carolina should have won the game based on analytics. They didn't.
Sure.
And again, it lends to the fact I told you the Bruins can win at any time against any team.
I agree.
You look at them, everyone thought they'd go into Toronto, the Leafs would beat them. I thought so. They didn't. Everyone thought the reverse game back in Boston, Leafs had a chance to beat them. They didn't. It's one of those ones. The Leafs played well, but they played just well enough to lose by 4-1 score lines both times. And this isn't me pounding on the Leafs. I'm just trying to make a point of when you play a team back to back, if it's a very good team, and the difference is we should see Kochetkov in net instead of Freddie Anderson. And he's been playing well. He's given his team a chance to win. And even the market agrees to some point. This game opened up with the Bruins favorite. It's pretty much a pick 'em. Money has come in on Carolina in this one. This late in the season, I'm straying away from totals because betting unders in games in which have added incentive like this one of winning a game in regulation, gaining 2 points on a team, getting a regulation win. We're seeing some goalies being pulled with 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. It's a little dicey to be taking an under when there's the possibility a goalie can be pulled in 3 or 4 minutes. Andrew, any thoughts on this?
Well, you get to respond to me and I don't get to respond back after you tell me how I handicap, which you don't have any idea about how I handicap. Tell me
I didn't have time to make my coffee
when I handicap.
Do you mind if I go make coffee and come back? I'll go make a cup and then come back. All right.
Please, Andrew.
I'll be right back.
Okay, so Carm, back to us. Brother, I am not saying that Carolina can't win this game. I'm saying that there's better bets on the board. I'm saying that this game is a pick'em. And funnily enough, the bookmakers agree that it's a pick'em. I'm saying that the under is a better play. And as far as analytics go, brother, of course I take analytics into account. I prefer to use the rhythm of teams over analytics, but analytics can keep me off of a bet. And as far as Carolina should have won the last game against Boston, they were dead even in shots. Dead even. So, I know shots, according to a lot of people, aren't important. They're important to me. They suggest no team can shoot the puck on another team if they don't have the puck. That's not an analytical fact. That's an actual fact. You have to have the puck to shoot the puck. So I'm just suggesting flat out that this is a tough game to pick. And the under stands out to me. I'm not going anywhere near this game. Dude, I'm not betting the under. I'm not betting anything in this game. This game is so far out of my mind, it is ridiculous. But I recognize why you put it on. It's a sexy matchup. If I'm going to bet it, I'm going to take the under. Should we just do this without Andrew the whole way through?
No, absolutely not. You gave him time. You said you were going to chat for a while. You went on for about 3 to 4 minutes, and
There he
Andrew
is.
is coming back. And I want his thoughts on it. Listen, as far as we're concerned right now, without knowing Andrew's opinion on this game, I would take a 3-1 Carolina victory. You can get your under. I will win with Carolina. But that's subject to change.
I'm happy with a 7-1 Carolina victory.
Yeah,
let it be an 80-1. I don't care.
Andrew. Well, it's great that you don't care. But at least when you're on this show it just a little bit of respect to the two hosts. The same way
I gave
Andrew
out
and I
the
would
under.
to you and Theodore. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm not doing this to stir anything up, but guys, I like the over in this game. And it's just because of a lot of times, how you guys know how I am about the rapid revenge, the recent history when a team plays each other and we see a game go under that probably should have gone over. And they get a chance to play, and next week or the week and a half later or 3 games later, usually I look towards the opposite of what happened as far as the total is concerned. And Carmine mentioned the analytical numbers, how that game should have had far more goals than it ended up having. And people think that sometimes being familiar with a team leads to defense, but I say that leads to offense. It's a lot easier to go ahead and game plan and figure out what a team is doing defensively and work around that and try and score than it is if you haven't seen a team in quite some time, right? And you don't know what they do. You don't know their tactics. I find that sometimes defensively, you stay at home a lot more. But one thing about this Boston Bruins team, guys, I've noticed a lot. They go over a lot more at home. 4 of the last 5 games have gone over the total at TD Garden. When they go out on the road, they're a whole different team. And I think a big part of that is they don't get that matchup they want. They don't get the last change they're looking for here, guys, with that. And Carolina themselves, I believe Prez was reading off the numbers for their defensive stats, and he's right. I mean, they have been locking teams up. They play very, very sound defensive hockey, but we're seeing a 5.5. And I know a lot of the 5.5s lately have been going under. A low total, low for a reason. But with, the amount of goals that should have happened and taken place in the last meeting, and now we switch venues, go to TD Garden, Boston plays at home. I believe we see both teams contribute. And one thing I've noticed a lot here, guys, lately, when you're betting overs, it takes 2 to tango. So, a lot of times if I've been betting an over, let's say it's Colorado against Columbus, right? Typically you should just take the team total over because you all know which team you think is going to carry that over. But the best part to me about this matchup is either team could win the game. Either team could carry the over. 4-2 final works for me in the 5.5. So I'm on the over here in this one, guys. But that's a lot on the first game.
It is, Angela. It is, and we look at it, and over the course of the season, you can look at the numbers, and the Bruins over the course of the season have pretty much been dead even on overs and unders at home. But if you look at sort of the recency bias, 6-3-1 their last 10 to the over at home, 4-1 their last 5 games to the over at home. So it is one of those ones that you look at trends. You look at the season-long numbers, but sometimes what's in front of you is what you've got to play. And we saw it sort of with the Ottawa Senators, eliminated from the playoffs. All of a sudden, they start to score and they start to win games, and they play the spoiler role. Sometimes you can't avoid those. We like to put stamps, and I'm coming to you in a second, Prez. We love to put stamps on teams and say, because I do it all the time, this team is tanking. But it is hard for a team of 20 some odd players to go onto the ice and not give an effort and tank. Sometimes you just aren't that good. And what looks like tanking is actually your team pretty much stinking the place up. Prez?
Yeah, Carmine, lots to say quickly. Tanking doesn't exist in hockey. We saw it last year with the Chicago Blackhawks. Look, they got lucky and won the lottery, but they could have had a higher chance if they didn't beat Pittsburgh in the last game of the season, but they did. And that game also proved that must-win games. Pittsburgh could have made the playoffs. All they had to do was beat Chicago. They didn't. So, be careful with this tanking concept. But listen, guys, I just want to end this Boston-Carolina segment by saying this. I like the under. Andrew likes the over. Carm likes Carolina. The fact that we're all over the map on this game proves my point.
It's a good point, Prez. Yeah,
it's
good point.
An impossible game to handicap, and I highly suggest everyone stay the hell away from it.
Prez, can I ask you a question?
During all of this, our producer Dan, during all of this, literally checked off those 3, and he bet the Bruins tonight because none of us touched on the Bruins. So we're expecting a Bruins victory. If they could win by exactly 5.5 goals, 5.5-0, that would just cancel all 3 of us out.
Prez, I've been asking most guests this. I apologize if I already asked this to you, but do you find yourself betting on mostly games that involve 2 playoff teams, maybe 2 non-playoff teams, or one or the other? Does that matter to you? Like, I've actually found that I've actually had a better read on the games that involve the non-playoff teams because, to your point, all 3 of us like hockey. We love watching hockey, right? And I've been trying to be more of a fan of being like, you know what? This is a great game tonight, Boston, Carolina. To your point, we don't have to bet on it. We all like hockey. We could watch it and enjoy it. And I find that sometimes right now, the best bet might be in, Anaheim versus San Jose, as weird as that might sound, right?
So the answer to my question, Andrew, is I never bet on teams in hockey, ever, ever, ever. I bet on teams in the NFL. I bet on teams in college basketball and NBA, but never, ever do I bet on a team in hockey. I only bet against teams. So I never look to bet on teams. I bet against teams. I was betting against Pittsburgh. I got it wrong. I've been betting against Washington. I've got it right. I'm looking to bet against teams and their rhythm. For instance, are we talking Dallas Buffalo on this show?
No.
For instance, the rhythm of Dallas and Buffalo suggests me not to bet on Buffalo, but to bet against Dallas tonight. So that would be an example of sort of how I'm looking at a game. I look at Dallas. They just had a rival matchup against Colorado. They're hot as hell. That was a big win against them. They're coming back from a road trip. Bad spot for Dallas, looking to bet against them. Then I look at the line. Then I look at their opponent. Is their opponent playing in the right rhythm that I think that they could win the game? I look at Buffalo. They just lost to Detroit, but they played their hearts out in that game. So, that's an example of sort of how I'm attacking the NHL card on a regular basis. I never look to bet on a team.
Guys, quite the start here to this edition of Puck Time. Thanks for being with us. If you're watching on YouTube or YouTube Shorts, hit the like button. Comment. Let us know what you are betting, and let us know what you're betting in this game. I mean, what better way to start things off than a little bit of a game like this where we all have something different. And shout out to Nespresso, because I was able to run downstairs in my house, make a coffee in a handful of minutes during the show. You got to love that. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Deep thoughts from the Prez. If you guys want more of the Prez's deep thoughts, call 1-900 the Pez. 1-900 the Pez.
Carm,
Prez.
do you remember
$5 a minute, $50 max?
Do you remember a few years ago? I texted Brian. Brian's a friend of Carmine and I texted him. I'm like, I wanted to get a tattoo. Brian's a good friend, owns a tattoo parlor. So I texted him like, hey, send me your buddy's cell number who owns a tattoo parlor. I'm in my car with both my daughters. Brian sends the number. I dial the number. Hello, welcome to the gay hotline. For this, press 1. For that, press 2. And he got me twice. Anyway, let's
Are you getting the Grateful Dead tattoo or no? Are you getting that tattoo? Grateful Dead? Oh, you did get it. My bad. I thought you got it. Yeah, nice. Okay. All right, Prez. Let's get to, you said you were fading the Washington Capitals. Well, they had a little mini streak, but since then they just haven't looked the same. And I think a lot of that has to do with their lack of depth. But tonight they're playing the Red Wings. And the only thing I think about this game is I maybe wouldn't want to play Detroit at the price that I see them at right now, just based on how they've been playing. What are your thoughts on this matchup here, Prez?
Yeah, Andrew, look, I'm looking at Washington, and I think they're on an amazing streak. They've lost 6 games in a row. That's a stunning streak, and one that I've been taking advantage of. And I look at this Washington team, and I think they have no depth. They're crazy old. They're tired. They have to be miserable. They probably can't get it up. There is not, I mean, how do you hold a playoff spot 10 days ago and then go and proceed to lose 6 freaking games in a row? And it's not, Andrew, they didn't lose 6 games in a row to Boston, the Avalanche, Colorado, and Vancouver. Pittsburgh came into their barn and they didn't even show up. They put up 21 shots against Ottawa. No, 22 shots. 22 shots against Ottawa. 22. You think that's bad? They put up 16 shots on Carolina. That is 4.5. That's 5.2 shots a period. A period. This Washington team is what we call well done. They're finished. Throw the steak away. You overcooked it. It's a piece of poop. So am I betting on the Red Wings today? I'm betting against the Capitals. The Red Wings and the New York Islanders are the 2 teams I think will make the playoffs, but we're going to find out. I think the Red Wings play Pittsburgh tomorrow night. Giant, colossal game. This Capitals team should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said there, Prez. I said they were on a good streak, and now you said they're still on a good streak. It's just a good streak for us to fade them is what their streak is right now. And the funny thing is, you look at some of their losses, they've come against good teams and bad teams,
Bad teams.
Losing to some non-playoff Ottawa, but then also Carolina and Boston, Toronto, those teams. So, but here's the deal. I think overall, even in losses for Detroit recently, Carm, they've at least been playing better defense. For Washington, in victory or defeat, their defensive game hasn't been very strong. What do you think?
Andrew, there's a couple points here. You look at it, and it's just teams that Detroit looked cooked a while ago, and a lot of it had to do with the Dylan Larkin obviously injury. and not being able to score. And their goaltenders weren't playing well, and they weren't playing well defensively, but they seem to have pulled it together a bit in the last while, and they're trending in the right direction. You look at it. Alex Lyon's confirmed for tonight. He's actually picking it up, kind of like he did at the end of last season for Florida. He's playing well. You look at his, his last 4 starts. He's faced some good teams. He's gone 2-1-1, but he's allowed 1 goal, 4 goals, 2 goals, and 2 goals, and playing some good teams. Buffalo, not a good team, but Florida, Tampa Bay, the New York Rangers. This guy is also in his last 7 games has faced 30 plus shots every single game. So still the defense is allowing a lot of shots. These are the shot totals for Alex Lyon, whose save prop tonight, by the way, is 26.5 saves minus 105. He's faced 37, 32, 30, 38, 36, 38, and 38 again. Only in the game where he faced 30 shots did he have 26 saves. Every other game of those 7, he's had 30 plus saves on goal, or 30 plus saves. And now you have Washington coming in, and Prez talked about the fact that they're not getting pucks on net. They're going to have to do something. Maybe bet the Ovechkin prop, because he's just going to be shooting. If they're not making the playoffs, he's trying to score some goals to pump up his numbers. But Washington struggling also has a lot to do with 2 things. Lindgren, who's been very good in goal, had a really good March. 5 straight losses now. They haven't shown up for him. They're not scoring for them. They're averaging 2.65 goals per game this season, Washington is, which is 28th in the league. How do you expect to make the playoffs? You're not the New York Rangers, who last year averaged 2.5 or 2.6, but had Shesterkin in goal. And this year, Shesterkin, another good season. Quick, another very good season. You can get away with those numbers when you have defense and goaltending, and Washington does not have that right now, and that's why they're losing. The price is right, 145, 150. It's where it should be. Give me the Wings.
Just want to jump in quick, Andrew. Sorry, Carm. Yep. That safe prop bet is what number?
It's 26.5, and I think it's low because of the Washington. It's at DK. I think
Guys,
it's because of
bet that under.
Get shots on goal.
Bet that under. You go and you look. Washington, 22 shots, 16 shots, 31, 26, 20, 20, or 30, 19, 25, 21. Twice in the last 10 games, they've gone over the total.
That's the point I'm trying to make is the last 7 games, this guy's seen a lot of rubber, and the books have it at 26.5. What are they telling you when his shot prop or his save prop is at 26.5, and he's faced 30 plus shots in 7 straight games, like I mentioned, and they're normally, if you averaged it out, it's about 36 shots on goal a game that he is facing, and his save prop's at 26.5, and it should be at 29.5, possibly, not 26.5. I don't think
I still
they
like
put much
the
faith
under
on the shots on goal for the Washington Capitals tonight.
We have a comment from the YouTube Shorts live right now from Lost Kid 82 saying he would like the Capitals to win so they can put their foot on the Red Wings on Thursday. And, Thursday is a big day as well because we have the Capitals playing the Sabres, but the Red Wings and Penguins going head to head. So that'll be a huge one as far as the standings and as far as the playoff race is concerned. So it's funny right now because we have so many people that have bets on the Capitals to miss the playoffs that are tuning in live, and people that have bets on the Capitals to make the playoffs at all kinds of different prices. So guys, we love you commenting live, whether it's YouTube Shorts, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, overall, Facebook. We are live in so many places right now. So make sure you check us out. WagerTalk TV is the handle here. I know a lot of people like sides better than totals, but right now, guys, for the most part, I am just rocking with the totals plays. I mentioned I like the over in the Bees and Canes game last time out. This time, I'm going to go with the under. I talked for so long about how Washington had not much, had pretty much next to no depth, really. This team was Dylan Strome, Alexander Ovechkin, McMichael, couple other guys, and that was it. And let's not forget about Tom Wilson getting suspended at the most, the inopportune time ever for the Capitals during their playoff push. And as I mentioned, Detroit, it's really been their scoring that's dried up. Their defense hasn't been that bad. And you take a look at the Washington Capitals, they haven't really scored more than 3 goals in over a few weeks. This team is scoring 1, 2, 3, and that's about it over their last handful of games. So I think the unders the play here, guys. I think the Capitals are realizing the scoring is drying up for them. Prez used the term the playoff, feel to it for the last game. And I think it really applies to this one as well.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that about my under yesterday with Penguins and Leafs. That was an under. I think tonight is a real big defensive battle. And I think we'd be remiss if we did not mention maybe a little sprinkle on the draw here. We saw what happened yesterday, Pittsburgh, Toronto. Why not get a nice plus price here on the draw in this one, as a point means so much to both teams in this game. But I'm going to go with the under in this one here, guys. And we've got Johnny Detroit here with us. We know what he's betting on, or we know what way he's cheering for here. The Detroit Red Wings as the Detroit office. It's nice seeing some more people at WagerTalk besides PuckTime people talking about hockey in our chat groups here at WagerTalk. And Detroit, well, they sat in a playoff spot for most of the season here, guys. So they want to make sure they secure that spot. But it's going to be a great game, and these are the ones I'm looking forward to watching the most for the rest of the year. Not as much some of these games where teams are already locked in to their playoff spots. One more game to break down. It's a great one here, guys. The Battle of New York. We have the Rangers and Islanders going head-to-head. And Carm, earlier in the day, this morning, I said to you, I know it's always a big one when these two teams go head-to-head, but I asked you, don't you feel like this is kind of a generous price here for how well the Rangers are playing? So I'll ask you on the show, what do you think? I mean, Rangers, they were like minus 130. They've been playing unreal hockey. Is this a good price to bet on them?
It's a low price, man. First of all, Andrew, we've done so much talking on this show. We're like 33 minutes and we have one game left in the show Best Bets. I've like run out of words. It reminds me of, and Prez might remember this, 1998, Life is Beautiful, La Bella Vita, which is Roberto Benigni starred in it. It won the Oscar based on the Holocaust. I can't believe you haven't watched it. You really should. One of the best movies ever. I was 30 at the time. That's how old I am, man. But I'm out of words. He ran across Lawrence he walked across people to get onto the stage. When he got there, he says, I used up all my English. And he couldn't talk anymore because the last award he was up, he talked for about 15 minutes.
His speech.
Said, shut up. Yeah. So shut up, Carmine, talk about the Rangers and the Islanders. Andrew, every time I bet against the New York Rangers, I get egg on my face. I get in front of this team. They're the number 1 team in the NHL as far as points go. And maybe we're trending to a Rangers Dallas Stanley Cup final. Who knows? But every time I go against them, I get egg on my face. But the Islanders, I have this little bit of love for the Islanders and what they're doing, because there is no player other than you can name maybe one on the team that, in the sense of the guy is a superstar, but people look at him and they don't have the big show names like Edmonton does, or Toronto does, or Colorado does, but they find a way to win each and every time. It's not even Shesterkin in goal tonight. It's Varlamov in goal. And this guy's, I think you got to go with the hot hand. He's 5-1-1 his last 7. And those are games against Nashville, Tampa Bay, Florida, Winnipeg, Philadelphia, and then Anaheim and Ottawa. Anaheim's probably the only one in there of a team that didn't give him a game. The other ones, 5-1-1. He's playing extremely well. And then you got the Rangers at a buy low price. It's supposed to be Shesterkin in goal. And you want to talk about numbers and Prez? I'm going to throw some numbers at you before I give a play on this. When I talk about home and road splits, and if it's Quick's got a great record at Madison Square Garden. He's like 10-1. I think he's like 7-4 on the road. Shesterkin, whether he's at home or away, his numbers are identical. He's played 26 games on the road, 26 games at home. He's 19-7 on the road, 19-7 at home, 913 save percentage on the road, 907 save percentage at home, 264 goals against average, 2.64 on the road, 2.63 at home. There is no leeway with those. He's just as good on the road as he is at home. They're 13-4 against Metro teams. He is 13-4 against Metro teams. And here I am getting egg on my face one more time because I am going to take the plus money with the New York Islanders in this spot, plus 110. Go Isles. Prez?
Guys, I'm not going to come on here and make up anything. I'm not going to give out nonsense. I can hear you have a situation where the New York Rangers are a better team. I think one of the best teams in hockey, a scary team. They've also won their last 3 games against the New York Islanders. They've won 3 in a row. They've won 8 of 9. 8 of 9. New York Islanders are on fire. They've won 4 in a row. New York Islanders are right now playing to the under. Rangers are playing to the over. Good luck to you all on this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tight one. It's a tight one. But when it comes down to it, I'm head to head with Carm here. And it's just, I just look at the way this Rangers team is playing and they don't seem to be taking anybody lightly, you know, and I like the idea of trying to find some live dogs. But I just look at the way that Lafreniere is playing. Look at the ways that Zibanejad is playing. Look at the way some of these defensemen are jumping into the rush. It's just, you know, and how many teams have the ability to have Jonathan Quick as their backup goaltender, you know, and it's, to me, that they're just so well-rounded here. I look at the way that they're playing right now and they just don't seem to be taking their foot off the gas pedal whatsoever. So I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the Rangers side here. I will say I kind of lean towards the under if I was to play a total, but the side for me would be the Rangers. If you're interested in any props, guys, you can get Zibanejad over 2.5 shots on goal. He's gone over in 8 of his last 10 games. Also, power play points. Adam Fox to get a power play point is real nice plus money on that. He's out there for all the power plays, quarterbacking the power play, someone to be looking at. And also Pierre Engvall, the former Maple Leaf, is getting a ton of ice time for the New York Islanders. His shots prop is actually kind of intriguing for how much ice time he's getting there for the New York Islanders, guys.
Guys, I got a question for you because, and Andrew gave his thoughts on the under in this one. I always say, trying to avoid being of the mindset that past results indicate future performances. So we talk about the total in this game. Minus the 2 preseason games that these teams played, the last 4 games have been 4-3, 5-3, 5-3,
all over,
6-5, and 5-2. Do you think there's any goals in this game tonight, or we just wipe those out? Because again, those are in the past, and this game has much more importance than a game that was played in November of 2013, let's say.
Are you asking me or Andrew?
You. About the total.
Listen, obviously I am beyond not betting this game, but I would lean on the under.
Lean towards the under.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the under probably favors the Islanders. We'll see. So, you know, would you say, Carmine, it correlates?
Can you throw to me first on the best bets? I got to tape the penalty box segment in exactly 5 minutes. And I know I'm the reason the show's gone long. I'm a loquacious, obnoxious cat.
Did you ride today? Did you cycle today, Prez?
I did not, Andrew.
You missed it.
I've been binging Shogun. I'm not sleeping much.
Come on.
Oh my God, what a show.
I went to the gym this morning again. I've been doing the mornings. Forget about nighttime. What do you got today, Prez? What's going on for you at your website?
Absolutely awesome. Guys, you know what make this show absolutely awesome? If Prez gives us his show best bet and then goes and does what he's got to do. Prez, what do you have up at WagerTalk, and give us your show best bet?
Why, thank you, Carmunchki. So I've got an NHL money line bet for my clients, 64% on the season in NHL money line bets. I'm also on a 7-0 NHL run. I'm up double-digit units on the season. I've had a kick-ass NHL season. I'm so thrilled with how things have been going. But more importantly, I have my first 5% play in baseball in 2 years. I did not have one single 5% play last year in the entire baseball season. So please check that out. As for my best bet tonight, and this to me is an bet that I'm actually making, and that is the Colorado Avalanche minus 135 in regulation against the Minnesota Wild. This line is shocking to me. I think it should be minus 175 in regulation. I think Colorado should be close to minus 300. Why? Minnesota's a good team. A mediocre team. But here you have a situation where, and I'm going to talk first about Colorado. They've just lost 2 games in a row, and they lost to 2 big-time playoff coming up opponents in Edmonton and Dallas. Now they're coming home, and they're mad, and I want to bet on a team, a good team like Colorado, after they've lost 2 in a row. But more importantly, and back to what we were discussing at the beginning of the show, I prefer to look at why I want to bet against teams. I want a kudos, hats off to the Minnesota Wild. They did not make the playoffs, okay? They have a route. They have to win every single game and have every team lose every single game. But they're not making the playoffs. But no team in the last month has tried harder to make the playoffs than the Minnesota Wild. Fleury didn't want to be traded because he wanted Minnesota. He wanted to take Minnesota into the playoffs. They pulled their goalie in overtime twice to try to make the playoffs. This team gave it their all to try and make the playoffs. And now they're done. Their intensity has to have dropped. They have to be emotionally exhausted. It is a perfect spot to bet against many and a great spot to bet on Colorado. Take Colorado in regulation, minus 135. Thanks for having me, guys. And make sure to watch Wager Talk today in exactly 17 minutes. Lots of love to the both of you.
Prez, best of luck to you. Best of luck to our production team trying to clip that best bet. Might need an external hard drive, but Prez, record that penalty box segment. We'll see you on Wager Talk today. Carm, what do you have going tonight?
That's going to take a while, Andrew. I have to believe the nickname Carmunchki is actually from Vivian, Lawrence's better half. She calls me that, so that's where that name comes from. He's just stealing it from her. 2 games up in Champions League this afternoon. It is the quarterfinals, leg 1 of the knockout stages. 2 really good games today. I got a couple plays up at Wager Talk, and 3 plays up in the NHL for me tonight. We're going to try and keep that good run going. 9-2-1 run the last, I think, week or so, and dating back to the All-Star break, January 1st, up 45 units in the NHL. We need to pick it up 10 more days, and then we are into the playoffs. Let's kill it, guys. For my clients, my best bet's going to be the game we discussed, Detroit Red Wings, in this one. I like the way Alex Lyon is playing. I hope he doesn't have a stinker tonight, but the guy has been solid, and he was solid down the stretch last year for Florida. He's the guy they might need. Get him some support. You're playing against a team that doesn't score a lot, 2.65 goals on average in the Washington Capitals. Get that win tonight, Detroit. Try and solidify that playoff spot. Every 2 points is important. Detroit Red Wings, minus 145 is your show best bet.
Carm, keep on rolling, man. And guys, that deal, the BOGO special, is still alive for Carmine and myself. Buy one, get one for the remainder of the regular season. I've been quiet in the NHL, and I got to pull my weight as far as that BOGO special is concerned. And tonight, Carm, I will certainly be doing that, guys. A huge slate for me tonight. Minimum 4 games, 4 bets given out for my clients in the NHL. I love this slate. Took a couple days off, wanted to start getting back in rhythm. As everybody knows, it's not really been my best season. I want to get into form before the playoffs and get on a big, big run. Love this slate tonight, guys. So buy that package, get myself and Carmine for the rest of the regular season, all of our plays. My best bet for puck time for today, we're going to go over Carolina and Boston, up and over 5.5. I love when I can get a matchup with two teams that played a week and a half ago. The game went under. It was 4-1, but the expected goals said this game should have absolutely sailed over the total. Now this game is in Boston at TD Garden, where 4 of the last 5 games played there have gone over. I believe these two teams clash tonight. The power plays get going. We see lots of goals, lots of star power on both teams. Let's cash this over 5.5, Carolina and Boston. Guys, it was certainly an entertaining show filled with all kinds of different stuff, but I hope you got some picks. Hope you got some entertainment. Hopefully we can cash these tickets. On behalf of Carmine and Prez, I am Andrew. Thanks for watching the show. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Puck Time.